The last 5 years before retirement are crucial and can actually catapult you past and over the hump for retirement, or actually set you off course. What are 3 things that you need to do to really supercharge the last 5 years before retirement? Got that and more coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. Planning for retirement can take decades. It's the right habits consistently applied over time. And yet, getting off to a good start, so starting early, it's the most common phrase that we hear from new clients coming into our office as they begin planning. They'd say, I wish I'd have started sooner. And I'm sure no matter where you are right now, you're listening thinking you've made some financial mistakes, and you wish you would have started earlier. And yet at the same time, it's also critical that you get the end of your career right. Those last few years, the last 5 years even, right before retirement, it's crucial that you have the right steps, because doing so can actually supercharge you, maybe get you over the hump even sooner, or get you over the hump with a lot of clarity and confidence, or guys, can set you off course. And you're so close to the finish line, if your habits actually do take you astray, it feels terrible. And maybe you're in denial. So what can you do? What are a couple simple habits that you can do in the last 5 years before you retire to supercharge your retirement and really get you on pace, if not ahead of pace? First, maximize your catch-up contributions. Maximize your catch-up contributions. You know that when you turn age 50, that you're able to contribute even a little bit more to your tax shelters, like your 401k or your IRA, Roth IRA. You're going to share the same contribution limit, which for 2024 is $23,000 is the amount that you can contribute into your 401k or your 403b. But the year you turn age 50 and beyond, you can actually do a catch-up contribution, another $7,500. So at that stage of life, you can do up to $30,500, and they increase that most years. And so the last few years before retirement, kids are out of the house, hopefully. They're off the payroll, hopefully. And you've got some extra resources because your income should be, advancing as you go throughout your career. Maybe these are the times that you can really reach that maximum. But again, reach also that catch-up contribution. Do as much as you possibly can. But there's even more. Starting next year in 2025, a provision from the Secure Act 2.0 is set to take effect. Now, we'll see if they delay this one. I'm hopeful that it rolls out on schedule, and that is a second tier of catch-up contributions for just a small window of time. Guys, this makes it so complicated, but it does give you extra choice, and I'm all about extra choice. Now, I shared with you within your 401k that the catch-up contribution starts the year you turn age 50, and it's $7,500. But this new tier of catch-up contribution starts at age 60 then. So in addition to the other catch-up contribution, at age 60, there's a higher catch-up contribution for just a couple of years. The year that you turn age 60, and then 61, 62, and 63. Why? Why would that end after 63? I have no stinking idea. That makes no sense. But that's right. In the year you turn 64, it reverts back to the old tier. What is this new tier of catch-up contribution? Your catch-up during those few years, 60, 61, 62, 63, increases to 10 grand, not 7,500, 10 grand, or 150% of the current catch-up contribution, which is actually more than 10 grand. So guys, as a way to supercharge your last few years before retirement, set a goal to not just max out your retirement contributions, max out your catch-up contribution, and even the special new tier of catch-up contribution can help you with your taxes and also help you stuff even more money aside for the upcoming retirement. And speaking of taxes, the next way that you can supercharge your retirement and those final few years of your career is make sure you capture tax diversification. That's right. As we're doing financial planning for folks, if someone's been doing their own savings and hasn't been working with an advisor and then shows up right on the cusp of retirement and saying, all right, this is what I've saved up. I'm planning to retire this year. Help me figure it out. More often than not, they show up with almost all of their assets in pre-tax. Very little, if anything, in Roth dollars. And what that means is in retirement, you don't have a lot of choice. So whether it's an expensive year in retirement where you're taking a lot of trips, maybe needing to buy a new car, wanting to do an addition on the house, maybe buy a new house. All of the time when you're taking dollars out of retirement, it's taxable. You have no choice. Even if it pushes you into a higher tax bracket, even if it causes you to pay more tax on your Social Security, even if it causes you to pay an extra surcharge on your Medicare called IRMA. There's no choice because all of your dollars are in pre-tax. There's no tax diversification. You can see how this can be a drain on your hard-earned assets, the wealth that you've built up. You can have too much of it slip through your fingers in retirement and go to Uncle Sam. Again, in these final few years of retirement, if not earlier, but oftentimes, if you've been saving, haven't thought much about your tax shelter strategy, those last 5 years before you retire, figure that out. Work on building out some tax diversification, either converting some dollars from pre-tax to Roth, contributing to Roth, or looking at contributing, more to your HSA and investing those dollars, building up some non-tax sheltered dollars, some that you're going to use early in retirement, and maybe do Roth conversions. Build out a tax diversification strategy. And then the final habit that you can use in these final few years of your career, the last 5 years before you retire, to supercharge your retirement, guys, and this is, of the three, this would be the most important. Stay growth-oriented with your investments. Stay growth-oriented with your investments. Now, I'll tell you how here in just a second, but one of the biggest flaws that we see, or mistakes that we see from people right before they retire, is they look at any amount of market volatility and they say, uh-oh, I'm about to retire. I'm about to live on these dollars. I can't see my portfolio go up and down. Well, they don't say go up and down. Go down by this much. I need to move it to safety. And they overreact or overcorrect with the right intentions in mind. That it's hard to stomach. I'm about to rely on these dollars. I can't see them decline 15% or 20%. And they make a shift in their investment approach and reduce risk at often a terrible time. Why? Because even at the end of retirement, those dollars need to last you 20 years, 30 years, a long time. Many of those dollars are still long term. So how do you stay disciplined? How do you stay disciplined to growth investments even though your time horizon is short because you're close to retirement? You need to implement in these final few years of your career, begin implementing what we call the personal pension plan and stratify your investments based on when you're going to use them. So some of the dollars, do the math. Which dollars do you think you're going to use in the short term? So, well, I'm going to retire. I'm going to work for the next 5 years, and then when I retire, we'll probably be drawing out. We've done the math. We need this much to live. Social Security is going to be this much, so we need to draw out X amount from our investments. Well, great. Let's do that math, and let's set that amount of money for 2 years, 2 or 3 years aside in lower risk investments so that we know even if over these next few years before you retire, the market just has an awful bear market. We go into recession, it's just awful. Well, you've got a few years set aside of cash where you don't need that shouldn't influence your retirement plan. Then do the math and set another chunk of dollars, maybe 3, 4, 5 years worth in medium risk investments, okay? Because those dollars don't have a long time horizon either, 7, 8, 9 years or so. So they should be taking some risk, but maybe you don't want to be too aggressive with those. But then once you've done that math, then you look and say, well, all the other money in the 401k or that you have invested, that's long term. I'm not going to touch it for 12, 15, 20 years. And how should you invest dollars? How should you hold dollars that you're not going to touch for 10, 12, 15, 20 years? Growth-oriented investments, right? And therefore, you can invest the rest of your portfolio, the rest of your nest egg with clear peace of mind in the stock market and a diversified strategy with hedging or with other strategies as well. And that gives you the peace of mind that when you see that short-term volatility, that you've got the right approach so that you don't need to adjust too much to your overall portfolio and make that classic error of going way too conservative way too soon. So guys, the last few years before retirement are crucial. They can make or break your ability to retire with confidence. Work with your certified financial planner. Implement those 3 strategies and others that are appropriate for your financial plan. If you don't have a CFP on your team, you can work with one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K, wisemoneyshow.com. You can find us there as well, or send us an email, info@Korhorn.com. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.